Watching my beloved grandmother get shot in the head right in front of me, I instantly imagined 100 different ways to kill the man who did it. But what I never expected was that after the brute slammed me to the ground, I actually lost all signs of life. Ironically, that monstrous blow would become the very thing that made all of them pay the ultimate price. Because when the killers realized I wasn't breathing, they didn't bother finishing me off. Instead, they dragged me and my grandmother into a straw hut to burn us. But as the flames grew hotter, I, a woman who had slipped into a deep coma, slowly woke up. The cruel reality was that my grandmother, who'd been shot in the head, was already gone, which meant that in that moment, the girl who grew up without parents had just lost the last person in the world who loved her more than anything. But even with such a devastating blow, I didn't choose to call the police, because I knew too well what our local laws were like. The killers would get 3 years at most, live comfortably in prison like kings, and walk out untouched, protected from any revenge. My grandmother was only trying to stop them from taking our land by force, yet they murdered her in the most brutal way. So I made a bold decision. I would make every one of them pay in my own way. What those killers didn't know was that death was already creeping silently toward their driver. When they saw all the weapons in the car blown to pieces, the 4 men finally realized how serious things had become. Even worse, if I managed to expose what they had done, murdering an old woman, it would destroy all of them. But even by midnight, they still couldn't find a trace of me, because not far away, a pair of eyes had been watching their every move from the shadows. And what they never expected was that a woman born and raised here knew this terrain better than anyone, and had been trained as a hunter since childhood. So the moment one of them strayed from the group, I had my chance to strike back. Even if he tried to sneak up behind me with a sharp blade, I could still overpower him and take him down. When they saw their friend's femoral artery slashed wide open, the others gasped in horror. Out here, in a place with no medical help, cutting someone's carotid artery meant a quick death, but slicing the femoral artery forced them to die slowly, drowning in pain and terror. Just as I felt relieved, I suddenly remembered what lay ahead. A sheer drop into a canyon, but luck was on my side. Instead of dying, I managed to grab onto a dead branch with sheer willpower. Still, the raging river below slammed into me, injuring my arm. By the time I finally crawled onto the shore, my arm was completely dislocated, so I dropped to my knees, braced myself against a rock, and forced it back into place. Seeing myself in such a broken state, I could no longer contain my fury. Even if it cost me my life, I would make sure every one of them paid in blood. Once I was ready, I set a fire